She laughed. Not at a joke, not at a movie, at me. 3 seconds before the door slammed. I had said nothing cruel, nothing dramatic, just one quiet sentence. I really wish you wouldn't go tonight, but that was enough for her. She grabbed the car keys, looped her wrist into a silver clutch I didn't recognize, and let the door speak for her. I just stood there. The wine glass she'd left on the kitchen table still had her lip print on the rim, coral red. She wasn't wearing that lipstick earlier. So who was it for? I didn't eat dinner. I didn't turn on the lights. I didn't even move. The silence in the house wasn't peaceful. It pressed on me like a storm cloud that never burst. Hours passed. I watched the wall. At 2:11 a.m., the headlights curved into the driveway. The door clicked, then creaked, then nothing. Not even a hey. She went straight to the guest bathroom, not ours. Water door click, closet door. She didn't know I was awake. I didn't ask questions, didn't accuse her. I thought if I pretended everything was normal, maybe I could stay inside the lie a little longer. But the next morning, when she finally stumbled out to the kitchen wearing a hoodie I hadn't seen in months, I noticed 2 things instantly. 1, it wasn't hers. And 2, her wedding ring was gone. That's when I checked her purse and I found something that made my mouth go dry. I didn't even need to open her purse fully. It was just slightly ajar, slouched lazily on the kitchen chair, like it had something to confess. I told myself I was just curious. I wasn't snooping. But the second I saw the slip of paper, long and creased, sticking out from between her wallet and some crumpled tissues, I knew I was about to regret everything. It was a receipt, but not from a store. It was from a hotel. Timestamp 11:38 p.m., room 213. 1 night stay. No minibar charges. 1 king bed. I stared at it for a full minute before touching it. Like maybe it would dissolve or change into something harmless if I blinked enough times, but it didn't. It just sat there radiating quiet betrayal, and Helvetica fought. She walked into the room just as I was folding the slip back in. Eyes still glued to her phone, hair damp from her shower. No wedding ring, just a smirk, like the night had been nothing more than cocktails and harmless conversation. "Why are you up so early?" she asked without looking at me. I mumbled something about toast burning. I don't even remember what I said. My hands were sweating. My ears felt hot. My throat had that tight feeling, like you're about to cough, cry, or confess something you didn't do. And then she walked to the fridge, opened it, pulled out a yogurt, and said the one thing that made my skin crawl. "Last night was wild. I feel 20 again." She laughed, that same short laugh from the night before. But now it sounded sharper, colder, like it wasn't meant for me at all. I tried to speak, tried to ask anything, but I couldn't form words. So I nodded like a coward. She didn't notice, but I noticed everything. Her phone vibrating 3 times in her hand. Her quick glance at it before turning the screen down. Her biting her lip like she was replaying a secret memory. Her hoodie sleeves pushed up just enough to reveal a faint mark near her wrist. Not a bruise, not a scratch, a hickey. I didn't say a word. I just stood there, spoon in hand, yogurt untouched. My wife had been in a hotel room hours before without me. She had showered, she had removed her ring, and now she was standing 3 FT away from me, humming a song I didn't recognize, like nothing had happened. But something had happened, something big, and I wasn't going to stay silent forever. I told myself I'd confront her that night. I even rehearsed it in the mirror like an idiot. "Hey, Marn, found anything fun in room 213? But every time I tried to say it out loud, my voice would crack or I'd blink too hard and feel stupid. I felt like a child preparing to accuse a parent of lying. She was too smooth, too calm, and I was unraveling. So I didn't say anything. Instead, I tried to watch her. Not in a creepy way, just observe. I noticed how much more time she spent on her phone now. How she'd smile at nothing. How she kept checking the clock like she was waiting for something or someone. I caught her once muttering under her breath with a smile and then glancing at me like I was invisible. She never used to do that. She used to pull me into her world. Now I was standing outside it, nose pressed against the glass. Around noon, I noticed she had changed her phone password. That hit harder than I expected. She'd never locked her phone before, not in 8 years. And now suddenly, I needed her fingerprint or face to unlock it. I felt like I was being told without words, "Stay out, you're not welcome anymore." Still, I waited. Maybe she'd confess. Maybe she'd feel guilty and blurt it out during dinner. Instead, she said, "We're out of honey mustard." That was her entire contribution to our evening. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do. Later that night, she stood by the hallway mirror, running her fingers through her hair. That's when I saw it. Another mark, fainter, higher up on her neck, barely visible in the dim light, but unmistakable. She caught me staring. "What?" she asked, blinking. I panicked. You're glowing tonight?" She raised an eyebrow. "Glowing?" I nodded like a fool. "Yeah, must be the lighting." She smirked. "Guess that's what a fun night does to you." Then she walked off, leaving me with that same silence again. I sat on the couch, heart pounding, wishing I had the guts to do anything. Say something, scream, cry, but I didn't. I just stared at the door like I was waiting for it to open again, maybe with her walking in. Only this time, not pretending, but it didn't. That night I couldn't sleep, and around 2 a.m., I heard her phone vibrate again. She didn't wake up, but I did, and I had a plan. I waited until her breathing slowed, that shallow, steady rhythm I'd memorized over the years. Her phone was inches from her pillow, screen down, charger slightly dangling, the cord twitching every time she moved. My heart was louder than my footsteps, but somehow I made it. I held it like it might burn me. Tried her old password first, then her birthday, then mine. Nothing. But when I rested my thumb against the fingerprint sensor, it unlocked. She must have forgotten to delete me. Or maybe she thought I wouldn't dare. The screen opened to her chat app, some private one I'd never seen before. The icon was a soft orange circle with a lock symbol. And the moment it loaded, I saw the message. It was already there, bold, unread. Last night wasn't enough. When can I see you again? No name, just a gray circle, no photo. But my lungs refused to work. My thumb hovered, trembling as I tapped the thread. I shouldn't have. I know that now. There were dozens of messages. Late-night selfies, compliments, jokes I didn't understand, inside references about places I'd never heard of, and worse, photos, not graphic, but intimate. One of her lying on someone's couch, wearing that scarlet dress, her legs tucked under her, laughing into the camera like she hadn't been mine just hours before. One message stood out. "Tell him you're going to your mom's next weekend. I'll book the same room." I stared at the words so long, they stopped looking real. My fingers went numb. My ears rang. I almost dropped the phone, but I caught it mid-air, heart hammering. I backed out of the app, locked the screen, and placed it right where I found it. Then I walked to the bathroom, shut the door, and sat on the closed toilet lid, trying not to throw up. I don't know how long I sat there. The sunrise was bleeding through the window by the time I moved again. I wanted to scream, confront her, pack her bags, but instead, I brushed my teeth next to her that morning while she hummed a song and asked if I could pick up oat milk later. Oat milk? She didn't know I'd seen everything, but I did, and I had no idea what to do with it. I thought maybe the worst part was seeing the message or the photos, or realizing that someone else had access to the version of her I hadn't seen in months. But I was wrong. The worst part came the next morning, when she curled up beside me on the couch and rested her head on my shoulder, like she still had that right. She smelled like lavender shampoo, the same one she's used for years. It used to be comforting, but now it just made me feel sick, like her scent had been weaponized. I sat there stiff as a statue while she scrolled her phone with one hand and absent-mindedly stroked my knee with the other. I asked her softly, "Do you feel okay lately?" She looked at me confused. "What do you mean?" "I don't know," I lied. "You've been distant." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Just tired, Kenny. Work's been a lot." That word again, tired. She'd used it like a shield for weeks now. Too tired to eat together, too tired to talk, too tired for anything but her phone, her secrets, and that one room number. I couldn't get out of my head. She got up and said she needed to run errands, told me not to wait up, that she might swing by her sister's place, maybe grab dinner with her. The lie rolled off her tongue like she'd practiced it. Maybe she had. But this time, I didn't just sit around. After she left, I went to the closet and pulled out the shoebox. We kept old papers in, warranties, receipts, forgotten tax forms. Her passport was in there. So were a few old bank statements. And right there, sandwiched between expired coupons and a takeout menu, was the answer I wasn't ready for. A second phone bill, not mine, not ours, hers. An entirely separate line I had no idea existed. Paid in cash at a kiosk downtown every month, quietly, consistently, and the number matched the one from the chat app. I dropped the bill on the table and sat down. My hands were shaking. My breathing felt wrong, like my body was too small for all the panic trying to get out. She wasn't just cheating. She had built something outside of me, a secret space where I didn't exist. And she was living in it like it was her real home. That was the moment I realized. I wasn't afraid of losing her anymore. I was afraid I already had. She came home humming. I'd been sitting at the table for over an hour with the second phone bill laid out like a trap. I wasn't even sure I wanted her to walk into. My mind had rehearsed a dozen ways to start the conversation. But when I heard the door creak and her keys drop into the ceramic bowl by the entryway, everything just stopped. She walked into the kitchen holding a shopping bag and 2 smoothies like it was any other day. "I got you mango," she said, "your favorite." She still remembered my favorite smoothie. The absurdity of that almost made me laugh. I didn't take it. Instead, I slid the bill across the table without a word. Her eyes dropped, scanning the paper like it might morph into something harmless. Then, they shot back to me. "Why are you going through my stuff?" That was her first response. Not fear, not guilt, not even denial, just anger. "I didn't know you had a second number," I said calmly. My voice didn't shake. My fingers didn't move. I felt cold, hollow, like I'd stepped outside of myself and was just watching the scene unfold. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then, she did something I'll never forget. She smirked. Not a full smile, not cruelty, just this tiny, bitter twitch that said, "You figured it out too late." "Are you going to yell?" she asked after a long pause. "No," I whispered. "I'm not angry," she blinked like she didn't understand the rules of this game anymore. "I just want to know how long I've been the ghost in my own house." Her jaw tightened. She started to speak, but I cut her off. "Was it just the hotel, or was that just the one time you left a receipt behind?" She didn't answer. She placed the smoothie down in front of me like it was a peace offering, then turned and walked into the other room. No apology, no explosion, just silence. That night, she didn't come to bed. She didn't say a single word, but I heard her phone vibrate 3 times before dawn. And then I heard the front door open. The front door clicked shut so gently I almost missed it. But I was already dressed, sitting in the dark living room with my shoes on and my keys in hand. She didn't know I'd heard the texts, or that I hadn't slept at all. She thought I'd swallowed the confrontation like I'd always done. Sullen, sad, spineless. Maybe I had, but not this time. I waited 15 seconds after her car started before sliding into mine. I didn't tell her close. I let her drift far ahead, keeping her taillights just barely in view. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I needed to see it for myself. She didn't head toward her sister's, like she used to claim. Didn't stop for coffee. She drove across town, past the industrial lots, through a neighborhood I didn't recognize, and turned down a side street lined with short brick buildings that looked half abandoned. Then she parked and got out. A man opened the door before she even knocked. Tall, lean, barefoot, wearing a t-shirt that looked slept in. He pulled her into him like it was instinct. No hesitation, no guilt. His hand disappeared behind her back. Her face tilted upward, and they kissed slow, certain like this was their 100th time, not their first. I watched from a distance, parked crooked near a busted mailbox, heart pounding like it was trying to warn me off. But I didn't look away. I couldn't. I kept waiting for her to hesitate, to look over her shoulder, to check her phone, to even glance back toward her car. She didn't. She was home, and I was just the guy paying her mortgage. They slipped inside. The door shut behind them. I sat in silence, engine off, watching the front of that building like it might open back up and give me answers. But the only thing I got was a flicker of light from the second-floor window, her silhouette in front of it, then his. Together, I didn't cry. That surprised me. Instead, I just pulled out my phone and took a photo. One, blurry, distant. Proof. Not for her, for me. Because the worst part wasn't the cheating. It was how effortlessly she erased me from her night. I didn't sleep that night. I drove home in silence, parked in the garage like always, walked through the front door like a ghost. Her perfume still hung in the hallway. Her coffee mug was in the sink, half full. The house hadn't changed, but I had. I didn't rage. I didn't pack her bags. I didn't print the photo or tape it to the fridge. Instead, I wrote a letter, not a dramatic one, just quiet truth. I told her I'd seen everything, that I knew, and that I forgave her. Not for her, but for myself, because dragging her lies behind me like chains wasn't strength. Letting go was. Then I packed a single bag. By the time she got home the next morning, humming some tune like always, I was gone. No fight, no scene, just space. I moved into a short-term rental on the edge of town. Small place, creaky floors, strange neighbors. But I could breathe again. For the first time in months, I didn't wake up holding my breath. I didn't scan someone else's face for signs of love or lies. I just existed, and that was enough. Weeks passed. I didn't hear from her. No messages, no apologies, just silence. Ironically, the only thing we'd had in common by the end, and that was okay, because silence now meant peace. I started running in the mornings, badly at first. I burned toast, forgot how to fold fitted sheets, but I laughed again. I read books. I made awful coffee on purpose just to prove no one could scold me for it. And one day I looked at that blurry photo one last time and deleted it. Not because I forgot, but because I'd finally remembered who I was without her.